Hello and welcome to another Scardcast Battle Report. First game with the new Dark Eldar! Let's begin. Today I'm playing Matt once again, and he has brought his Swordwind Army of Doom. This army went to Astronomicon Toronto. 1500 points of pure deadliness of the Windrider Jetbike army versus 1500 points of new Dark Eldar. Trying out a unit of Talos, an Archon with a webway portal, deep striking Grotesques. Guess who made it back? Mandrakes, that's right. We have the two Venoms in fast attack. I'm using the Dark Eldar Detachment. That will be a lot of fun to play with. Okay. We are playing a Maelstrom mission. Number 6, Deadlock. And I will be using my regular Dark Eldar objective cards, while Matt will be playing with the regular book objective cards. We have Objective 1, Objective 5 beside this Rhino that's important. The Manufactorum is important as well, as is the Pipeline that could be an entranceway to a secret organization or bunker. The Bastion is important as well as the Mysterious Ruins. And this isn't a killer, so it might be something important. Deployment Vanguard Strike. Matt won the role to choose sides, he chose this side, and chose to deploy first as well. So he decided to deploy first. He will, very soon, choose to go first or second. Unit of jetbikes with 2 cannons, 3 Vipers with 2 cannons, unit of jetbikes with 2 cannons, Firedragons and Waveserpent, 8 Warp Spiders deep striking, Autarch, and 2 more units of jetbikes reserving, and 2 units of 2 Warwalkers with scatterlaser bright lance outflanking. My force, I have Mandrakes that are hiding behind here. I have 2 unit Talos, 10 Kabalite warriors and a raider, 5 Scourge with 2 haywire blasters and a Ravager, an empty Venom, they're just fast attack choices, 8 Wyches, that's right, I brought Wyches, just to see what they can do. In reserve I have a Razorwing with disintegrated cannons and a Splinter cannon, and a webway portal Archon with 3 Grotesques with a liquefier gun. So, Matt, will you go first or second?
I'm going to go second.
He is going to go second, giving the Dark Eldar turn 1. And my Warlord trait is +4 weapon skill, rather useless. And I'm using the Dark Eldar Force Organizations chart. And Matt has to pick 3 of my units to take a pinning test before the start of the game. Turn 1. The Dark Eldar force has advanced to take on the Eldar army. They got 6 objectives, which were fear and terror, which was to cause a leadership test and have them fail it. Big Game Hunter, to kill a vehicle. Secure Objective 2 twice. Secure Objective 3 and hold the line. So, these are the ones I've gained. Secure Objective 2 twice. Secure Objective 3 with the Venom. And hold the line with my scoring units. And I did force a morale test by killing 2 of these jetbikes, but they just passed it. And I only succeeded in putting 1 hull point on this Waveserpent. That did not even jink. So now we're moving on to Eldar. Turn 1. What objectives will they gain? We have Secure Objective 2. Psychological Warfare. Redrawing that one to Hungry for Glory. Big Game Hunter. Hold the line. Secure Objective 5, which just happens to be right over here. Eldar Swordwind. Turn 1. The Swordwind has advanced with fury and determination. The Vipers killed the 2 Scourge they could see, forcing a morale test, but they passed. The Eldar jetbikes on this flank moved up to move into Secure Objective 5 with their Eldar jetbike move, but succeeded in 1 lucky penetrating hit, blowing up the raider and pinning the warriors inside, killing the blaster in the explosion, and another 3 models. The This Venom survived unscathed from the cannon of that unit, while the Waveserpent forced the Raider into jinking and did not do any damage, and the Firedragons only succeeded in putting 1 hull point onto this jinking Venom. So, in the points, the Eldar have succeeded in 4 points with Psychological Warfare, my Warriors failed pinning test, Big Game Hunter, he killed a Raider, and holding Objective 5 while also gaining First Blood. He keeps Hold the Line, the Venom denying it to him, and secure Objective 2 for later in the game, and he is discarding Hungry for Glory, bringing the grand total of 4 points to 4 points. And the Dark Eldar have some reserves to arrive. We have the Archon in the webway, waiting with his Grotesques, and they do not arrive. The Razorwing jet fighter, and it arrives, screamingly jetty. The Dark Kin has dealt a high-strength hit to the Swordwind army. In my objectives, I had Big Game Hunter, Secure Objective 6, No Prisoners, Fear and Terror, and Hungry for Glory. So I have secured Big Game Hunter by killing the Waveserpent and the unit of Vipers as the Talos moved 12 inches into the building and ripped all of them to shreds in close combat. I took Objective 6 with the Raider back here, who unloaded the Wyches, who 3 died because of the explosion of the Waveserpent that was caused by the Ravager in a feat of glory. And then they charged into the Firedragons and murdered all of them, consolidating that way, and now going to get destroyed by Eldar reserves. And I did destroy 4 enemy units this round, which allows me to get D3 points for no prisoners, and I receive 1 point. Not too greedy. Meanwhile, the Razorwing came in at full speed and blasted 3 missiles and a disintegrator and killed 1 model, but forced them into jinking. So now we're moving on to Eldar turn 2, and we're rolling for reserves.
Do 2 units of Warwalkers. So 1 will show up. The Warp Spiders show up. The unit of normal Wind Riders show up. And the unit with the Autarch show up.
Okay, so 1 unit of Warwalkers is off. Everything else is in. And for objectives, the Eldar army.
That's 5, right?
That's right. Secure Objective 6. Recon, which he automatically gets. And Secure Objective 4, which is held by the nasty Mandrakes. Something to note is, of course, the lack of objectives secured in my army, so make sure you stay tuned for the Tactical Corner to figure out how that is going to be affecting my tactical choices. The Wind Rider jetbikes moved up, shot at the Mandrakes, killing no one thanks to their stealth and shrouded in ruins, and failed their 7-inch charge. We had a lot of shooting on this side of the board. All the Wyches died. The Raider blew up, killing the Venom that was there with 1 hull point left. The Autarch and 2 jetbike units are all separate and claiming Objective 6. And the Warwalkers arrived on this side and shot at the Ravager with the Warp Spiders. The Ravager jinked and with its Nightshields was able to survive with 1 hull point remaining. So, at the end of Eldar turn 2, they have gained another 3 tactical points for Hold the Line, Secure Objective 6 and Recon, bring the total 7 points to the Eldar and 7 points to the Dark Eldar. He has 2 objectives still, 2 and 4, and he will keep those as well. So, moving on to Dark Eldar turn 3. What a bloody match. Does the Archon feel it's a good time to come out of the webway? And he does. The Archon surged forth from a webway portal with Grotesques and a liquefier gun, torching a lot of the Warp Spiders after rolling AP2 on the liquefier gun, and then shooting from the Scourge did nothing. But they passed the morale test. the snap-shooting Ravager fired into the Warwalkers and did nothing. And then the Razorwing moved in and forced the small unit at the back, killed 3, they ran off the board, and then a Venom and the Warriors killed a few of these jetbikes. I know the Venom killed a bunch of those jetbikes. 4 jetbikes. And they held, and then I didn't do anything to the Autarch. And then the Talos moved up and shot and did nothing. And then the Mandrakes killed 1, putting Soul Blaze on these guys, but failing to reach them with their fleet roll. And now we're moving on to Eldar turn 3, and the Dark Eldar gained both psychological warfare and fear and terror, making the enemy fail morale tests, while failing to take objective 5 and discarding domination, because it's going to be relatively impossible to control every single objective on the board. So now the Eldar need to bring on their cards. It's 4 cards now. He has 2 and 4. He has Scour the Skies, so kill a flyer, and secure objective number 3, which happens to be right next to the Talos. And do the Warwalkers arrive? They don't. The Eldar have secured objective 4 and secured objective 3, keeping both the other cards. The Autarch and unit charged in, put 2 wounds on 1 Talos with shooting, and then combat did nothing, and the Talos killed 1 jetbike and put 2 wounds on the Autarch with their crazy stats. This unit I'm very happy about. I'll talk about it more in the tactical corner at the end of the battle report. In other shooting, the Warwalkers forced the Razorwing into jinking, and they didn't do any damage, while the last remaining Warp Spiders lost 1 member to the Warp, and then eliminated the last hull point on the Ravager. So now... Oh, and then in this flank over here, the Mandrakes died a horrible, hideous death, as they usually do. I was hoping they'd do more. Talk about them more in the tactical corner. I have secured objective 5. Take them alive. Apparently now they want to take prisoners. And recon. The Taloses ate the
Autarch.
Autarch. I want to say Archon for some reason. Autarch in combat, losing 1 Talos, and then consolidating close to those jetbikes that fell back after getting shot by these Kabalite warriors. Meanwhile, the Venom boosted to this flank to take objective 5 way in the back, and the army has put pressure on the flanking force, trying to make him not be able to take objective 2, and putting the Grotesques in position to push the Warwalkers back, while the Razorwing jet fighter flew off the board. That means that I have done another 2, and take them alive. I killed an independent character, so haha, something good for the Comorite arenas, and I get 3 victory points. He was apparently very, very important. So now we're moving on to Eldar turn 4. The Warwalkers automatically show up on this flank. The outflanking Warwalkers moved on and shot into the Grotesques, while the other Warwalkers moved across, shot into the Grotesque, killing 1 Grotesque, then charged in, putting 1 wound with a Hammer of Wrath. And then the Grotesque did 3 glancing hits, no saves on the poor Warwalkers, and there's 1 left with 1 hull point remaining. The Warp Spider on the hand did a sneaky an Eldar trick, moved up, murdered all the Scourge, and moved in to take objective 2, while the very brave Windrider jetbikes ran away and continued to run away. They didn't die, but Soul Blaze is still on. It's been on for like 4 turns or 5 turns, and the Talos is looking at lying them. And last but not least, we had secure objective 2 as an objective, and he has discarded Scour the Skies as my Razorwing comes back on the board. The Archon put a haywire grenade on the Warwalker, ending its misery. Then we had this entire unit of warriors kill 1 Warp Spider, and they did not fall back, while the Razorwing blasted the Warwalkers behind the building and did not do any damage. This Venom boosted up to then be in conjunction for a bunch of objectives, while the Talos spooked all the jetbikes who ran away before he even made it into combat. And I failed to get within 12 inches, and I failed to capture objective 3, which means that I did not get any points this round. And we're moving on to Eldar turn 5. He has Assassinate on the board and Secure Objective 1. Oh no. The Warwalkers and the Warp Spiders jumped up to try and assassinate my Archon, killing one Grotesque by shooting, and in combat, the Archon with his huskblade murdered both the Warp Spiders that were left, and he put a hull point on one of the Warwalkers with a snap-shooting haywire grenade as they charged into combat, and then they did nothing else in combat. And then, this is how the board looks turn 5, and it could be the end of the game. Let's see if it continues. It does. And the objectives achieved were none. And do you want to discard any of them, sir? I'm assuming you discard number 1?
Yep.
Yeah, discard number 1. Now, it is my turn 6, so I have to discard one. I'm going to discard Secure Objective 3, because behind enemy lines give me a point for that, and then 1 for Line Breaker for having my Talos back there. Okay, we'll be back after Dark Eldar turn 6, and now I have Rage rah, 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 on all my models. Everything moved around. Talos got into position to gain behind enemy lines, adding that to the tally. And in combat, nothing happened while everything else kind of hid. We're moving on to Eldar turn 6. So we're going to do the combat on camera, because that's the only thing we have to do for turn 6. Okay, my Archon has a haywire grenade. Dun dun dun. And he hits. Will he do anything? He glances and doesn't do anything. Now the two Warwalkers. 3 hits. 1 wound. The Grotesque will take it. 6 up armor save. 5 up feel no pain. He's okay, and he gets to swing 3 attacks. Actually, no, 4. Oh no, it's the liquefier. He's still 3 hits and 5s to glance. Cocked. That would be 1 glancing hit, and he is okay. So that is the end of Eldar turn 6. Do you want to discard your Assassinate, sir?
No.
Okay, and will the game continue? Game over! Dark Eldar Maelstrom victory. The Dark Eldar had 16 points to the Eldar's 10 points. That's including... Oh, no, so it would be 17 because I got Line Breaker as well, which we didn't count. But it was a Dark Eldar victory nonetheless. And Matt, any comments at the end of the game?
I completely underestimated the Talos and what they could do, what they were going to do, and basically just underestimated them. They pretty much walked through the meat of my army, as well as my Autarch, which is not really geared for hand-to-hand combat, but that's okay. That's no problem. First Maelstrom mission that I've done, so it was really cool. I really like them. I love the fact that you're doing different things on different turns, and you can't just telegraph everything. I really like the missions, and I'm looking forward to playing more of them. I think tournaments should run them.
Yeah, I think the Maelstroms are really fun. They've definitely added a lot to the army. So this army is 1,500 points that you made for Astronomicon Toronto.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
It started off... really, you helped me, and Tim helped me. I just wanted to do a quote-unquote Samhain war host, which is not really Samhain. I have a whole fluff behind it, which you have to submit for Astro. They have a comp scoring system, and I scored a perfect comp because I didn't go over on points, and I spent enough points in the right places. And it did really well. I placed 3rd overall at Astro. There was 56 entrants this year. And it did really well. I went 4-2, and the 4 games that I played, out of the 60 points that I could have got, I got 57 out of them. So, and the games that I did lose, I still got points as well. So I did really well. I was very happy with it. Yeah. And of course, you and Tim really helped me playtest it pretty much in very short time as well.
Yeah, it's a very good army. It's got a variety of everything, jetbikes and just Eldar in general. And Eldar, and I hope you enjoyed the first Dark Eldar battle report of the channel. Matt, what are your general impressions of the new Dark Eldar book, having fought against them today?
I really like it. I'll probably be flogged and hounded for it, but I really like the way that GW is starting to downgrade all of their codexes, and it's basically trying to balance everything out, because your Eldar, which are a top-tier army, you can run Serpent Spam, which I didn't want to do for Astro, by the way. You can run Serpent Spam and pretty much run over 80% of the armies out there, and I really like how they're starting to take away from things, and it brings it back to the non-wind up and go. I didn't see anything that was super overpowered in the Dark Eldar. Not that there was to really begin with. I like how they've increased certain point values on certain things, and I don't know, you're making units that normally wouldn't get playable.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for watching, guys. As always, subscribe to the channel if you like it. Leave a comment if you really like it, or favorite or whatnot, or share it with your friends. First Dark Eldar report. Make sure you stay tuned for the Tactical Corner as we chat about the different tactical choices made this game. This is Skara, your grateful host, and this is Matt, unwilling and unwitting slave to the Dark City.
That's your first victory.
That's right. And we're moving on. Thanks a lot for watching. Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. Let's start with the new Dark Eldar Detachment, which I ran. Had a lot of fun with it, and I will be doing some more explorations with it, but playing against Matt's Swordwind army was quite a challenge. My Dark Eldar army in the past has had a lot of struggles against this particular list. So I was really excited to try something new. Now, I find the new Dark Eldar Detachment will work very well if you have Nightshields on your tanks and you have Night Fight turn 1, which gives you the +1 for the Nightshield, +1 for the Detachment special rule, which means that your raiders would not need to jink in order to have a 4+ cover save. So if your opponent's going first, you can still have that alpha strike turn 1 if you need to. So there's a couple of things I want to touch on. First off, the lack of objectives secured in my army. I didn't see it as much of an issue. I was able to get to objectives where I needed them, and I was able to bait Matt into coming to me in order to take them away from me and then pounce and just murder his objective secured units as they came down the line. I wanted to touch on the Talos unit. That 2-man Talos unit was fantastic. It is very expensive, 240 points, but very, very resilient. Now, if you run one, make sure you put it in a centralized position and use them as a spearhead, because they are very slow, so you need to use them as an area denial unit. Last but not least, the Mandrakes were a lot of fun to use. With the new power from Pain, I expect they'll be a lot better later in the game when they become fearless, as other Dark Eldar units will be unable to go to ground on objectives, but Mandrakes will be able to sit in ruins with a 2+ cover save. All in all, my first impression of the book is very, very positive. I had a lot of fun playing against Matt, and I'm very glad that I did so well against a tournament-tested army. Thanks a lot for watching, and make sure you stay tuned for much more Dark Eldar content.